Hey, everybody. This is Elmo 172331 coming at you from the Select Screen channel. It is Thursday, and so we're doing a little bit of, I guess you could call it a throwback, not Thursday, because today we're doing a review of the Mandalorian. Man, that's a tongue twister. Try saying that 5 times fast. Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1 through 3 review. Wow, right? Wow. Okay. So if you haven't already, in order to be prepared for the stream, don't forget to check out our latest video below by Select Screen NBA 2K21, and also visit our link tree at linktr.ee/select screen. That's 5ELECT 5CREEN. Of course, don't you know? And also, if you want to donate to the channel, then go diagonal to that QR code. And you could donate via the Cash App and help support the channel. It really does us some good. It really helps us out. And you guys get your input as selectors, and you kind of get, make you feel like a little VIP. If you want to have VIP status, well, then that's how you do it, right? So I'm just going to check to make sure everything's up and running before we get into the meat and potatoes of things real quick. So hold tight with me if you would, please. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, it looks like everything's good to go. All right, yeah, I just had to do that one quick check real quick. And then another thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip the script so that you guys can see me ooh-wee, on a bigger screen. My goodness. We got 4 selectors rolling with us. So, hey guys, how you doing? Feel free to say hello. And like, I don't bite very hard. And I appreciate you guys tuning in with me on this fine evening, or whatever time zone it is for you guys, because I know we got a lot of like amazing UK selectors too, so that's pretty bomb. So it might be a different time zone where you're at, but anyways, it's around 8 MST where we're at, and that's our normal stream time. Like, we go Tuesdays and Thursdays around 8 MST, and then Select Screen pretty much does everything else in between. Like, he is like dedicated. So yeah, I'm like the B squad, and I help him out on these days. So, anyways, now that we've got everything on lock and you guys can see my face, wow. Um, we got a different layout, yeah, for our reviews and reactions, of course. Like, you want to see me in a tiny little screen, you want to see me in the big screen, right? Right. And of course, our social media links are below if you want to check those out outside of our link tree, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So, let me drop little there we go. Alrighty, and we'll get this show on the road, folks. So, in case you don't know what The Mandalorian is about, which I would be very surprised, which I would be very surprised, The Mandalorian is kind of like an extension of the Star Wars series, and it's a really, really cool series, even for those people that aren't necessarily involved in Star Wars itself. It's like a little spin-off, but it's an amazing spin-off, okay? It is like, surprise, surprise, about the Mandalorian, and he's trying to deliver the child, aka Baby Yoda, back to his kin. And along the way, there have been many struggles. There have been many surprises. There have been like a whole bunch of things that they've been dealing with. And so season 2 just picked up right where season 1 left off. And it's already turning out to be great. And in my opinion, it's funny and it's cute, and you really connect with the characters quite a bit. And So it's a great series. I would definitely give it an I'd give it an A, maybe even an A plus. Um, as far as series go, because sometimes you get those spin-offs and they're just absolutely terrible, and it's like, why did you guys even waste the money on this? But the Mandalorian, I have yet to hear a bad word against it. Everybody who lays eyes on it is just like, wow, this is so cool, I enjoy this a whole bunch, and I can't wait for more. Like when season one ended, then people were like more than enthusiastic to have season two come out. And so, here we are amidst season two, right? So, basically, Mandalorian, bounty hunter, okay, going around the universe trying to figure out how to navigate life and do so now with a child. Okay, questions that have been posed by viewers out there in the interweb universe are, how did Baby Yoda even get here? Because we don't know who Baby Yoda's parents are at this point. Like, and we don't want to get into the like biological logistics of all that, but how did Baby Yoda get here? You know, why is he here? What purpose does he serve? What powers does he have, and stuff like that. So, hopefully we'll be getting the answers to these questions as we go along, and we won't just be left hanging on another cliffhanger. um, so, for season one, we kind of just jump back into things, and so I have my handy dandy little notes here going on here. So chapter, like, okay, so chapter 9, they're considering this chapter 9, okay, and it's titled The Marshal. Now, before we get into these things, I should point out there will be spoilers along the way. So if you haven't watched the episodes that I'm talking about, 1 through 3, but you want to see them, then I suggest that you come back after you watch them, just so that you don't get, things ruined for you. Because, there are little surprises in here that that you want to see. Okay, right. Okay, so season 2. Oh, forgive me. Yeah, it's chapter 9. I said that right. Okay, so chapter 9 is titled The Marshal. Okay, we have the Mandalorian, and we have the child on their journey. They're trying to get where they got to get as quickly as possible. That Mandalorian can be on his way and he could stop being in harm's way, because the more that they go throughout the universe, the more trouble they get into, the more people they get tangled up with, and just like you never know what's gonna pop up, right? So, basically, Mandalorian walks in and he goes to a fighting match, and it's like these hog looking kind of things, and so they're fighting, and so he sits next to this guy, and it's like, oh yeah, well, have you seen any other Mandalorians like me? And it's like, well, I could give you that information, but do you always conduct business like this before, actually just enjoying the entertainment? Mandalorian's like, okay, whatever. So he gets the guy in a separate room and he hangs him upside down. And he's like, if you give me this information on where the rest of the Mandalorians are, then you will not die by my hand, right? And of course, during this time, Baby Yoda, we're just going to call him either Baby Yoda or the child, whatever it is. um, it's like, it's gruesome. It's a gruesome fight going on here. And the person that the Mandalorian is trying to do business with, he's like, he's like, yeah, should Baby Yoda be watching this? Should the child be watching this? And the Mandalorian is like, he's seen worse than this. This is just like the tip of the iceberg here. so, so it's like he's not even really bothered by it, right? Of course. So they go into the back room and they're kind of talking. And so the Mandalorian discovers that they're this the way. Yeah. So on Tatooine, right? Tatooine. And so then guy hanging upside down, he's like, "Hey, aren't you gonna get me down from here?" And the Mandalorian's like, "Well, I'm gonna keep my promise, and you're not gonna die by my hand, but I'm gonna blow out this light." So he blows out the light, and then the guy hanging upside down gets attacked. Ooh, boy, right? Yeah. So he kept his word as a Mandalorian, but the guy still got messed up. We can assume, we can make inferences that he got torn up, right? So, progressed to Tatooine, and so we're trying to figure out what's going on, right? And then Mandalorian gets there and he meets up with the Marshal, and the Marshal has some armor that he's not supposed to have, right? And so we figure out he's not an actual Mandalorian, but he does take care of the town, and the people trust him to take care of the town. But they have a problem. There's a very, very big problem, okay? And like basically what it is, it's a big, big dragon underground, and it throws up on people. So that's pleasant, right? And so the townspeople and the desert people are having problems. They're having conflict, and they just cannot come to an agreement about, what to do, right? Like this big, like sand dragon kind of thing, and it's like, what do we do? Well, Mandalorian makes a deal with the Marshal. He's like, if I take care of this big sand dragon, then you have to give me the armor because it doesn't fit him right. Like basically his head is like squished like a melon, and his like a body armor. It was like, he went to the children's section when he's an adult in the clothing stores, right? So that's the deal that they come to. All right, and during this time, this is one of the funniest languages I think I've ever heard in my life. So, basically, the sand people were like, right? And they're having all kinds of different gestures, like, and nobody can truly get the gist of what they're saying except for the Mandalorian. And he's like, well, they want to, take care of this sand dragon just as much as the townspeople do, right? So they're working together, and they're starting to set up a trench with bombs in it. Right? It's like, okay, so we're gonna blow this thing up from its underbelly. But the thing is that it's in a cave, and so we have to draw it out of the cave before we can even blow it up. The underbelly is the most sensitive part of this sand dragon, and so they're like, okay, we're gonna work together. We're gonna try and blow this thing up, and then go from there. Okay, maybe we could come to an agreement to where if we fight a common adversary, then we won't have to fight each other, right? An enemy of my enemy is my friend. Old saying goes, right? So time goes on, and basically they set up they kind of set up bait, and I call them I call them the yak rams because they look like huge yaks with ram horns on their heads. Okay, they're yak rams. I don't care what you say, they're yak rams. And if the series doesn't coin this, then I'm going to write them a letter. But anyways, yak rams. So their real names are the bantha. They select screen, enlighten me on that, but I call them the yak rams. Okay, yak rams. So they put the yak rams in front of the cave, and then they're making all these noises trying to get the sand dragon out. Like, yeah, right. Sand dragon comes out. He's like, nope. He leaves the bantha alone, and he eats one of the desert people, and it's the funniest thing ever. Like I said, you're gonna get spoilers throughout it, but it was so funny. It was like, they set the trap for the bantha to be the bait, and then the desert person ended up getting eaten instead. Yeah. So they have to enlist new forces. They got to get back up. They have to convince the town people that this is actually, going to be worth their while, and so they're having a difficult time. Their weapons just are not being effective against this thing. And, if you guys ever watch SpongeBob, like, if you know what an Alaskan bullworm is, that's the general that's the general picture that I got when I first saw this, and I was kind of cracking up to myself. Look up Alaskan bullworm, and then you'll know what I'm looking. And you can also look up Trimmer, because Trimmer is kind of what this sand dragon looks like as well, only in more detail than a SpongeBob episode. But anyway, so yeah, they're fighting this dragon, trying to get along, trying to blow this thing up from the underbelly, using bait that is not working as bait, and so they don't know what they're gonna do, right? So Mandalorian's like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this armor back. This armor does not belong to random people. Like, they just keep finding this armor, but it doesn't belong to them. They keep using this armor, but it's not theirs. And so he's like, I really have to get this armor back. I really, really want it back. And so I can, return it when I return the child, right? Like, geez. Because, by the way, his armor is all nice and shiny and pristine, even despite all the battles and fights that he's gone through and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So, yeah, it's a mess. Okay, so spoiler alert, blah. I wish I had like a little like they like fireworks. So this will be my fireworks for spoilers. So they draw out the dragon, right? And they basically blow up his underbelly. And then it's like, well, that wasn't as effective as we thought it was going to be. So the Mandalorian and the Marshal have to, take matters into their own hands, and they're like, all right, let's go, right? Let's go. Excuse me. Like, they didn't blow it up great yet. But they're like, let's go. We got to take matters into our own hands. So they meet the sand dragon on top of a cliff, and then it ends up popping up behind everybody, right? And so Mandalorian ends up having to fight him basically in mouth-to-hand combat. And everybody's like, oh, what's going to happen? Mouth-to-hand combat. And, spoilers, sparklers, woo. Eventually they do blow up the sand dragon, and they start getting its meat. And so the townspeople are happy, the sand people are happy, and they come to that agreement to where they can at least have peaceful terms because they thwarted a common enemy. So it's pretty cool. It's a fun episode. It's a funny episode, and you must see it. It's a great way to open season 2 in a very, very lighthearted way. Okay. So moving on to chapter 10, The Passenger. Okay, so this is where things start to get a little bit more in depth as far as Star Wars itself goes. Okay, so Mandalorian, moving on, he's got his meat, he's got his little air bike thing, and of course the child's with him in his little side pack thing, and basically they get clotheslined and all their supplies go everywhere. And so it's like, okay, we got to walk to this town in order to get what we need, right? So essentially, Mandalorian gets commissioned to help a frog lady. And once again, we have kind of like gibberish, only it's more froggy this time. It's more froggy. And basically what has to happen is they have to deliver the eggs to another planet before the equinox, because this is the last of her brood, and her husband is on this planet waiting for her, but they can't go through like hyperspace or it will destroy the eggs. It's the last of the eggs, the last of the Mohicans, and so we can assume that she's kind of like even like an older frog lady, because if this is her last brood, then obviously she doesn't have any more eggs to spare. And this is it. It's like we either do or die. We get our get our clutch, we get our babies to this planet, get up to my husband and get them hatched, or that's it. That's the end of the line. No more like generation, no more lineage, no more legacy, no more nothing, right? But again, they can't go through like hyperspace because it will destroy the eggs. Okay. So, Mandalorian's like, okay, well, the only way that I've been surviving really is to go quickly, just to get from one place to another and not stay in the same place for long, right? And it's like, well, we trust this frog lady, and yeah, if you want information, if you want to keep progressing and get the child back to where he's supposed to be, then you got to help this frog lady out, right? And so it's like, he's like, why does everything got to be so difficult? But he takes the commission anyway. He's like, all right, I'll do it. We can assume that the Mandalorian is a good person, obviously, because if he can kind of mediate between two different groups of people, and if he can actually help this frog lady to try and get her eggs to her husband and help her help her babies hatch, then you can assume he's a pretty good person, even for being a bounty hunter, right? When people hear the word bounty hunter, then they're kind of just like, right? Bounty hunter does not come with a good connotation, but in this situation, we can assume that it does, right? So they're going towards their mission, right? And most people have seen the meme by now where Baby Yoda is eating Frog Lady's eggs. And it's like, well, if hyperspace doesn't destroy the eggs, then Baby Yoda certainly will. And so he can't keep his little claws off of the eggs. And the Mandalorian just like, stop eating her eggs. That's the whole point of this mission. Stop eating her eggs. Behave, And so, yeah, things are going all right. Then they get to a point in space where they meet up with two X-Wings, and they are kind of like, let me see your license and identification. How do we know that you're actually a good person and all this kind of stuff? And he's like, well, I can't give you the ping because my stuff is malfunctioning. It's really not malfunctioning. He just doesn't want to give it to him. And they're like, well, if you don't send the ping, then we're going to have to take you to a Delphi. And it's like, oh, hey, look, my ping is working. So the X-Wings, they're like, hey, yeah, can we talk in private? Can we switch to channel 2? And Mandalorian's like, great. And so we get into air battle, basically, and we go into these ice cave type deal. Okay, and Mandalorian ship just gets wrecked, right? Like things are hanging off, and he's like sliding against ice and all this kind of terrible stuff. Like, I don't know why, his modes of travel just get destroyed, but in the past 2 episodes, they get destroyed. Like, we need some reinforcements here, right? We need some tried and true reinforcements, but no, okay. So, all right, so we get into this ice cave. And so not only can Baby Yoda not keep his claws off of Frog Lady's eggs, but also cannot keep his claws off of other random eggs. Now, if you have arachnophobia, spoiler alert, this is not where you want to be. You might want to skip this episode because coming out of the eggs that Baby Yoda eats are spiders. And these spiders are getting bigger by the moment. Okay, normally spiders take a little bit of time to get bigger, but these spiders just keep growing and growing and growing. And on top of that, you of course have a nest. You have a mama. So you get mama spider, and she's just like, well, why are you eating my eggs? Like, somebody get this kid something to eat, right? Stop at like, I don't know, drive-in McDonald's or something for like airships. But of course she's mad that he ate one of her babies, and so they attack the ship. Now, all during this time, like these eggs have very little chance of survival in the first place. They have to beat the equinox. But in between Baby Yoda eating them and this ship going, just getting beat up, like hardcore beat up, and then it's like, I don't know what you're gonna do. So the Mandalorian kind of gives up hope a little bit. He's like, if we can even get off of this cold, freezing planet thing, then perhaps, perhaps then we have a chance. But Frog Lady basically connects into the ship's, speakers, and she's like, "Well, I thought the Mandalorian had a code. I thought they, were, um, they had a code that they lived by, and that they didn't let people down." And he's like, "Well, sucks to suck, kind of, because yeah, we're in major trouble." So skipping ahead a little bit, um, the spiders attack the ship. And it's just like, it seems like an infinite number of spiders, they're just going for it. They're attacking, getting bigger. And it's like, okay, this looks like it's going to be the end. Oh, me, oh my. That would definitely be like a terrible, terrible waste of money, right? Only have 2 episodes in season 2 and then just kind of, cut it off. But spoiler sparklers, the X-Wings come back and, they're kind of just like, all right, we'll handle these spiders for you. And they take out all the spiders, right? And it's like, well, why, if you're the source of the problems in the first place, are you helping? Why, after you're giving us grief about the ping in the first place, are you helping? Well, it's because the Mandalorian, again, we can make inferences that he's a good person, has done things in the past that kind of, made up for his actions in the present. So, they take out all the spiders, and then the X-Wings are like, peace, homie. And so the Mandalorian's like, all right, we gotta get out of here. But our ship is in shambles, so hold on for a wild ride. I suggest you buckle in, you hang on to your eggs, and you hope for the best, right? So we have liftoff, we get up into the sky, and end episode 2. All right. So you have to remember that these episodes are about like between 30 and 40-ish minutes, maybe 41 minutes, depending on how extensive and how detailed they want to make these. Um, and yeah, about 30 and 41 minutes approximately. And, if you want to read through the credits too, like once you read through them one time, you don't necessarily have to read them again. But we have liftoff. We're in the sky, and we're off Ice Planet thanks to the X-wing. Yeah. So, Elmo pro tip number 1 for you guys. Your merits, your good merits, the good things that you do in your life do have merit, and they can help you later on in life. So, don't ever, regret doing something good for somebody else, okay? Doing something good, like spoiler sparklers, is good. And you might not see the immediate effects of, the things that you do, but eventually it'll come back around, and you'll see it in ways that, you didn't think that it would come back around, because the X-Wings could have just left him there, could have been like, yep, this is the end of the Mandalorian, we don't have to deal with him anymore, yada, 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 yada. Done. Our work is done, right? That's one less threat we have to deal with. But instead, because he did what he did in the past, they're like, okay, we'll let you off a little easy. We won't necessarily give you a lift, but we'll let you off a little easy, and we'll take care of these spiders for you instead. Okay. And if you ask me, that's, a pretty good deal, because those spiders were just yuck-tastic. Like, some people can tolerate spiders. They even have like tarantulas as pets and whatever, and they'll Like if they have a spider in their house and they'll just, bottle it up and take it back outside and hope that it doesn't get in their house again. Huh. But in my case, I'd be like, nah, I can't deal with spiders. And like, arachnophobia, yuck, yuck. And especially because those things are growing in size too, right? Like at first, Baby Yoda could just like eat the spiders. They were like, maybe this big or so. So he just cracked open an egg and ate the spiders. But over time, they were bigger than he was, and they were just climbing all over the ship. And Mama Spider just she like basically sandwiched the ship. So it was like, how are we even gonna get off of this planet with Mama Spider on the ship? So the outlook wasn't looking too good until people saw Mandalorian's merits. And then that kind of got him, like a pass of being either taken to a Delphi or even, being harmed in the first place. Okay. So that's what you get. That's what you get for, for chapter 10. Yeah? Yeah. So, chapter 11 is called The Heiress. Oh, so chapter 10 was called The Passenger. Chapter 11 is called The Heiress. So we are still having the overarching goal of trying to get the child back to his kin and trying to figure out where all the rest of the Mandalorians have gone, right? But we've got off the ice planet, and surprise, we actually got all the frog lady's eggs to her husband in time without it being the equinox. So frog lady got to where she needed to go, and the commission was successful. Cool stuff, right? And so it's like, yay, and spoiler sparklers, wee. We get to see the baby tadpoles hatch, and they're like this big little things in a bucket, and all is well for a few minutes. Now, there's kind of, like a brief flash, and we get to see a lady in a dark black hood. And it's like, well, who is she? What is she? What is purpose that she served? We don't quite know yet. That's the only time we see her in this episode. But people have their sneaking suspicions as to who she is. So if you guys have an idea of who she is, drop that in the comments because I want to see who you think it is before they actually reveal who she is. Is she a Jedi? Is she not? Is she friend? Is she foe? Is she not? I don't know. She just kind of has a brief moment in time where they make a point of, showing her on camera, but they don't explain more extensively than that at all. Like at all. And it's like, oh okay, well, cool, but big whoop, right? All right. So moving further along, it's like, all right, what is the Mandalorian going to do next? What's going on? And like, what's his next mission gonna be? Well, we figure out down the line that there are other Mandalorians, not just the Mandalorian, okay? But the thing is that there's two different ways, two different codes that they kind of live by, okay? So we have the older way and we have the newer way. One way is where, you can kind of take your helmet off, you can kind of reveal who you are, you kind of, go about your own way, and it's almost like a rebellious kind of way to be a Mandalorian. But our Mandalorian, he's the one that never takes his helmet off. He's always trying to return Mandalorian armor to its proper owner. He's trying to return the child to its proper kin and stuff like that. And so there's two different ways of a Mandalorian. Now, where the whole heiress part of this comes in is that there are three other Mandalorians, and one of them is the heiress, of course. Surprise, surprise, right? She's the heiress, and she kind of goads the Mandalorian, into helping them raid this ship in order to get stuff off of it. We think initially to get stuff off of it, and so we have the space troopers. The guy with the big white helmets and stuff, and they're going through, and Mandalorians are just taking people out. Okay, there's only four of them, and there's like a bunch of like the space troopers, and they're just getting destroyed. Now the commanders of the ship that they are trying to raid are like, okay, we have to get off of, we have to get like, we have to get off the ground into the air, um, like as soon as possible because people are taking stuff from us, and they call them pirates. Um, and so it's a big to do about getting onto this ship and, kind of blackmailing Mandalorian into doing this job. And so, of course, he's going to be a total boss and help these other Mandalorians do what it do. But in the meantime, there's these octopus looking guys that kind of have like these octopus beard things. I don't even know what you want to call them. I don't know their proper name, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But they kidnap a child, and they're like, we're going to be rich because we're going to take Mandalorian's armor. Now, everybody knows that's a big no. As I just said, Mandalorian does not take off his mask for any reason, right? And so they're trying to get it off of him. They're trying to sell it by taking the child and throwing it to this big sea monster thing. So the sea monster, like, kind of like tries to gobble up Baby Yoda. And, of course, the Mandalorian, he's like, I'm going to save this kid. Like, when you get on to like a mission with somebody or in a task with somebody and you just want to help them no matter what the consequences is, like the consequence is, yeah. Well, that's kind of what happens here. Okay. Like he does whatever he can for this kid. Like, if ever the kid is in trouble, he is his first priority. And so the octopus face guys kidnap Baby Yoda, throw him into like this sea monster, and Mandalorian is like, oh my gosh, I gotta get him back. Well, sea monster faces, they push the Mandalorian into the sea monster's mouth almost, and so he's drowning. Like he's got big heavy armor on, and it's in water, and who knows what happens to Baby Yoda at this point, right? For all we know, he's already down in this monster's stomach. We don't know. Okay, so octopus faces are like, yeah, we won this one. That was easy, blah, blah, blah. What kind of Mandalorian was he? They underestimate. And so the other three Mandalorians come to his rescue. And so that's kind of how they get him to come on the ship with him. Because they're like, well, we did you this favor. We got the kid out. Now you got to come with us. Come with us, and, we can come upon some kind of agreement here, right? So he agrees. He's a boss. He's taking out space troopers and, just doing what the Mandalorian does. And, like, probably the most pertinent line of this episode is "Long live the Empire." Because, like, they're taking out this ship, and the only way that this ship will not be officially taken over by the Mandalorians is if, they just, get rid of it. So, it's like, long live the Empire. And of course, if anybody knows anything about the Empire, why that's important. So, the captain of the ship takes out his buddies, and he's like, hey, you guys won't survive and stuff, so it is what it is. I'm gonna just be the one to take you guys out here. And so, guys, it's a crazy episode of it's like the fight scenes are great. Um, the humor kind of gets a little lost in this one, like it's not as funny as the other two were, but every episode can't be giggles and laughs all the time. Um, so he helps him out. He gets what he needs, and we figure out a little bit more about Mandalorians and how there's two separate codes. And I think that's the most important takeaways from the eras in chapter 3 of this. Okay, guys. So, in general, my general takeaways from this, like this is a really good show. It's well worth the watch. It's well worth your time, and gather together with some buddies and get a little giggle out of it, get a little action out of it. It's Jon Favreau, so you can almost guarantee that it's going to be a good show. Like the next episode of season 4 is coming out this Sunday, I believe, and so be on the lookout for that. You don't want to miss it. Disney Plus. If you don't I'm not sponsored by Disney Plus, but check it out. Mandalorian, great season, and it goes in conjunction with all of you Star Wars fans out there. You'll get a kick out of it. You'll get action out of it. You'll get backstory out of it. You'll get suspense out of it. Apparently we get memes out of it. Cause Baby Yoda eating the eggs, Frog Lady's eggs, and stuff like that. So it's a great series, and in general, I give it an A. It's well worth your time, and get your popcorn, get in your recliner, and just enjoy 30 minutes to 45 minutes of just good entertainment. All right. So I think I'm just gonna wrap this thing up here. I've almost talked to you guys for a good 45 minutes about 3 episodes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope you guys check out the show and that it's something that becomes part of your weekly watch, part of your repertoire that you can enjoy. Something to beat back the boredom, something to add to your Star Wars collection if you're a big, humongous Star Wars fan, I don't know. But something to add to your Star Wars collection. It's a great spinoff. And yeah, so it's cool. And I highly, highly recommend it. And I think that Select Screen would recommend it as well. He said, the child. So, yeah, so I'm just going to flip the script back on for you guys. Whoop. Yes, so as you saw in our little mini video right there, do not forget to choose your destiny, okay? And don't forget to take care of each other. Be kind to each other, of course. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you could get notifications of when we go live and when we're in action. And visit our link tree in our latest video below at linktr.ee/select screen. That's 5ELECT 5CREEN. My name is Elmo172331. This has been our review/reaction video of The Mandalorian Season 2 episodes 1 through 3, and I'm out.